Truly African.
Hello there, good afternoon to you. Welcome to Pan-African News and Pan-African Television with me, Makiza Micheline Latifa. We are coming to you live from our studios here at Abilimpi, number 48, Suwaneka Street. We are also streaming live on Facebook and across 46 neighboring countries via satellite. Coming up in the news bulletin this afternoon, and Africa marks 58 years of striving toward attaining African unity. And also coming up, Allied Health Professionals Council of Ghana calls on the Ministry of Health to implement the 2013 National Health Laboratory Policy to resolve the impasse between the striking laboratory scientists at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital and their employees. And residents in the Adentan municipality want municipal chief executive removed. We'll tell you why shortly. And ahead in business, KJTR markets to close down at 7 p.m. from June 1st, 2021. We've got details of these and many more stories coming up in the next 60 minutes. Please do stay. Our very first story, and African Union Day is the annual commemoration of African unity on the 25th of May 1963. It is celebrated in various countries on the African continent as well as the world. Now, as part of the celebration, the Socialist Forum of Ghana, in collaboration with Pan-African Television and African Rising, has produced a brief documentary. Let's watch that documentary.
Date in African liberation, and it is indeed celebrated as such by Africans the whole world over. Where does it originate from? Indeed, it originates especially from the declaration at the midnight of the independence of Ghana on the 6th of March, the eve of 6th of March 1957. When the Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah declared,
we dedicate ourselves not only in the struggle to emancipate all the territories in Africa. Our independence is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent.
Africa's struggle or national independence was arduous. Men and women of African descent from all over the world, including Field Marshal Muthoni of Kenya, George Padmore, Kwame Nkrumah, Sekou Toure, Winnie Madikizela Mandela, Josina Muthemba Machel, Patrice Lumumba, dedicated their lives to the heroic struggles of the people of Africa to rid themselves of oppressive and exploitative colonialism. On the eve of Ghana's independence on March 6, 1957, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, founder of the modern Republic of Ghana, declared that the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked to the total liberation of the African continent.
The question of the liberation movements of the African continent, Nkrumah's highly revealing statement that the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked with the total liberation of the entire African continent came in as a big shock to many. For others, it came as a big surprise, especially coming as it did from the very beginning of Ghana's independence.
Of course, this declaration is situate within the context of the unity of the Pan-Africanist struggle, which at the 5th Pan-African Congress in Manchester, 1945, gathered together a whole host of African liberation fighters to plan for the independence and liberation struggle for Africa, which was then almost totally dominated by European powers. So the declaration was the expression of both the internal and external foreign policy of Ghana. The internal policy being that we have liberated ourselves from colonialism, and in order for us to safeguard our independence and our sovereignty, there was the need for us to help our brother African countries who are under colonial rule to also become like us, that is to become independent countries, so that we could advance the project of African unity.
An effective and a collaborative and a common action was needed as an attempt to confront the forces of imperialism and exploitation that was taking place on the African continent. So when and how did we get to this stage of our human development as Africans or black people? That for more than 400 years, black people, the sons and daughters of the African people were kidnapped and shipped over across the Atlantic. Until today, we are still recovering from that effect. After that, we were fixed with our colonial, settler colonialism and apartheid. So we needed to resist it again, just as we fought our enslavement. So we were confronted with more than 150 years of colonialism, apartheid and settler colonialism. So Africa's response to this was to fight this, but this one was happening individually.
And those were some excerpts of the documentary that has been produced by the Socialist Forum of Ghana in partnership with Pan-African Television and African Rising. The full documentary will premiere today on Pan-African Television. So please keep your dial right here on Pan-African Television. But let's still stay a bit longer on the African Union Day. And May 25th of every year is commemorated as African Union Day to remind people on the continent of efforts to achieve this long-cherished dream of African unity, which was championed by founders of the AU, including Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. This year's commemoration of the AU Day, which is under the Arts, Culture and Heritage, levers for building the Africa we want We want comes on the back heel of myriad of challenges on the African continent. Now, our news team were in town to find out the relevance of commemorating the day and came through with these submissions.
So, AU Day is still relevant because we need to ask ourselves the question, have we met our goals? The goals of eradicating poverty and then improving the continent. If we haven't met our goals, then we still need to celebrate this day because it is very important for us to have this day.
And in fact, I know Kwame Nkrumah very well. But then we were in Kumasi with my father and then my mother. And Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown by Kotoka and Afrifa. And Kwame Nkrumah was a very great man. You know, he went to Hanoi before he died, and they brought the Conakry. And Kwame Nkrumah is somebody that we trust in Ghana here. If Kwame Nkrumah could be alive, I don't think Ghana will be like this. Do you know that Ghana will not be like this? And Ghana will have progress. But these are politicians. You see, they didn't follow the step of Kwame Nkrumah. You know, Kwame Nkrumah have got a lot of factories, bastard line, ships, a lot of things in the country. But today, what do we see? We don't see anything better in the country. I was aware when Queen Elizabeth came to Ghana, when I was in Kumasi, I was a small boy. Before they hand over to Ghana. But let's wish Ghana well. Let me tell you something about African Union Day. All the Africans, the presidents on everything, they are corrupt. They are corrupt. You know that. They want to sit on the throne. Look at someone like Mobutu. Look at someone like Togo president, which is Yadama. Look at Mokasa, and look at all these people. They stay on the throne, and they stay on the throne to rip down everybody. Look at Congo, what is happening in Congo now. Do you know that? Why don't we unite? I think the head of the president, they have to unite so that we all come to one, so that Africa will be free. That's the only thing I can say.
African Union is a very good society that you have to build. In terms of us being in Africa as an individual, we even started this unity before the Europeans and the Americans did theirs. And they have been able to develop theirs to a capacity that has made them stronger. And we Africans have not been able to make ours. So as we being remembered of this Union Day, we have to actually rethink and come into our sense and say that no, this is the time that we have to build Africa. As Kwame Nkrumah, Gaddafi, Mugabe, and the likes were trying to build Africa, we were just sitting down there looking at them, not supporting them. But as it's a reminder for us today to celebrate it, we have to try to inculcate that kind of unity within ourselves and make progress in our society.
Once again, the theme for this year's AU Day, it's arts, culture and heritage. Levers for building the Africa we want. Let's take a turn. We'll be back with some more news. Now, the second meeting of the first session of the 8th Parliament reconvened today. The meeting is expecting to work on a number of bills, including the Ghana Standard Authority Bill 2021, Exemptions Bill of 2021, Consumer Protection Bill of 2021, Petroleum Revenue Management Amendments Bill of 2021, and the Advertising Council Bill of 2021. I'd read some of what this press release says budget performance report in respect of the Ministry of Youth and Sport for the period between January to December, budget performance in respect to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources for the period between January to December 2020, amongst the papers to be presented to the House. Motions for debate will be admitted by the Speaker during this meeting. There are also some petitions before the House. Sector ministers are also expected. to attend upon the House to answer questions related to their ministries. The Appointment Committee is also expected to commence its public hearing to vet the President's nominees for Minister of State and deputy ministerial positions. The Public Accounts Committee is also expected to hold its public hearings to examine reports from the Auditor General's Department and other related matters. Now, we will keep you updated on this very one. But away from that, patients requiring laboratory tests have been left stranded at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital following a sit-down strike by laboratory scientists at the hospital. The technicians are protesting the appointment of 2 medical doctors to the department. Now, we've been joined on the phone lines by Ernest Bedu Boateng, Chairman for Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital. Right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with some more stories. Been joined on the phone lines by Ernest Bedu Boateng, who is the chairman of the Ghana Association for Medical Laboratory Scientists at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, thank you so much for joining us right here on Pan-African Television.
Thank you so much for having me.
Right, bring us up to speed on the developments at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital with regards to the strike action by the laboratory scientists.
Thank you very much. What is happening is that we are still within the sit-down strike, the 1 week that we gave to management to help resolve the matter. But as I speak to you, nothing concrete has come from the side of management. Hello?
Hello, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes, nothing concrete has come from the side of management to resolve the matter for us. The 2 hematologists are still within the hematology lab as we speak. So due to that, membership has also not called off or suspended our strike. And it's unfortunate that management claims that they lack the power to remove these 2 physicians from the lab, and that if a directive should come from the ministry, that's when they are ready to comply. So as we speak now, no directive to have come from the ministry on management to withdraw these 2 physicians. The letter we have from the ministry is that they are calling us for a negotiation. You should bring our position paper and all that. But that doesn't resolve the issue, because what you are saying is that in good faith, while they are asking us to suspend the strike and come for negotiation, they must also instruct the management of Anokye to withdraw the doctors from the hematology lab back to where they were originally posted from. In a memo dated November 26, 2018, they were originally posted to internal medicine. So we think that they can withdraw them back to internal medicine so they can be a truce, and then we can sit down and resolve this matter.
Right.
But as you speak, nothing like that has happened. And so we are still within the strike, and I can confirm to you that should the situation remain the same till tomorrow, we are going to scale up the strike to a nationwide one, and even a total strike where members will not be coming to work anymore.
Right. Okay, so from what you have said so far, at least management has called for some sort of a negotiation. Why have you failed to meet with management to sort of agree or reach a consensus?
We met management last week, Monday, and it was a heated banter between us and management. At the end of the day, all what we took from that meeting from management was that they are acting within their rights, within Act 651 of the Labor Act, where they say they have the right to post any professional within the health sector or any professional who have some kind of expertise to go and work within any unit or directorate. They have the right to do that, and so these doctors need to be in hematology. And
right.
That is where we also reminded them that if I know how to drive a car, I can't just stand up and start driving a car. I need to go to DVLA, write an exam, get a license before I can drive a car.
Right.
Or even if I have a license from DVLA, it specifies for me the class of car I can drive. I cannot use license B to drive an articulator. So these doctors are licensed by the Medical Dental Council. That license they have does not grant them the right to work in the lab. And so the fact that they've gone to Ghana College, acquired some expertise, does not grant them the right to just walk into the lab and start practicing laboratory science, which is against Act 857. So that is where we ended with our meeting, and then we left the meeting. And since then, nothing concrete has come from management, except that they are waiting on the ministry to receive a directive so they can probably act on it by withdrawing the 2 doctors from the hematology lab.
All right. So what's next?
So what is next is that our NEC has met. They have announced a roadmap that we are following from tomorrow. That we are going to escalate the strike to a full-blown strike.
All right.
So from tomorrow 26th, we have an emergency meeting here in Komfo-Anokye.
All right.
Where all laboratorians are going to meet and comply with those directives and announce a total strike, where our sister hospitals are also going to join us in solidarity, so we can get this issue solved here in Komfo-Anokye, and it will cut across the whole country.
All right. Thank you so much. Mr. Ernest Bedu Boateng is the chairman for Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital. We have been having a conversation around the sit-down strike currently ongoing at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital following the posting of 2 medical doctors to the laboratory. We'll take a quick break. There's more news after this.
It's incredible! Bang on target!
Right, let's still stay a bit longer on this very development. And the Allied Health Professionals Council of Ghana is urging the Ministry of Health to implement the 2013 National Health Laboratory Policy to resolve the impasse between laboratory scientists at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital and their employers. In a letter cited by Pan-African Television addressed to the Minister of Health, the Council is also entreating all parties to avoid taking any action which will affect patients' care and tranquility in the health delivery. Now, we have been joined on the phone lines by the Registrar of the Allied Health Professionals Council of Ghana, Dr. Samuel Yao Opoku, for further details. Good afternoon, Doc.
Hello.
Hello, Doc. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Thanks for joining us right here on Pan-African Television.
You are welcome.
Now, there's a sit-down strike going on currently at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital. What do you make of the whole strike action?
Well, as what I make about the strike action, it is an issue that is receiving our attention. So as to what I make, maybe I want to skip that. But I think it's just because there are some kind of misunderstanding of the whole issue that has led us to where we are at this point.
Okay, so let me read excerpts from the press release or press statements that we cited. It says that it is significant to state that the fundamental issue to the current unfortunate development is the non-implementation of the National Health Laboratory Policy. According to you, this is the reason why all of this is happening. Tell us more about it.
Okay, thank you. The National policy for medical lab was developed in 2013.
Right.
And the thematic areas for this policy deals with the organization and coordination in the labs, the human resources, the testing menu, equipment, commodities, quality management system, biosafety, lab information systems, monitoring and evaluation. But for the purpose of these discussions, maybe I may want to dwell on the human resources and then the organization of the labs.
Okay, go ahead.
So we think that if this policy that was developed in 2013 had been implemented, the current challenge that we have as to who does what in the lab that has led us to the issue of Komfo Anokye wouldn't have occurred at all. So that's why we are calling on the ministry to see to the implementation of that policy.
Okay, since your release of this particular statement, have you got any responses?
We are still in discussion with the ministry, and I'm very hopeful that very soon some solution will be found to that problem.
Okay, so you are positive that a certain, decision will be taken in lieu of the policy that you have mentioned in your statement?
For us to have lasting solution to the problem, we think that if the policy is implemented, because this problem that we are witnessing today, this is not the first time. It keeps reoccurring. But I think it's gotten to a point that we need to have a very final resolution to the problem. And one of the ways of resolving the issue is the implementation of health policy, the medical lab policy.
Okay, so basically the course you are making is for there to be the implementation of the National Health Laboratory Policy?
Yes, exactly so.
Okay, thank you so much for speaking to us. Dr. Samuel Yao Opoku is the Registrar of the Allied Health Professional Council of Ghana, and we have been speaking with regards to their calls for the implementation of the National Health Laboratory Policy. They believe that this will sort of help them with regards to the issues coming up or surrounding the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital strike action. You're still watching Pan-African News right here on Pan. We'll take a quick break. There'll be more news. Please do stay.
And also, I decided Truman capsules and so at their brand. I didn't know what's up with you, Truman. At the account, now you're Beman and Pepwell.
Hey, Truman capsules. One mamaya bema bion.
Truman ye marima drew and mofra one knee in fear doing what she into me. Sajed yen craft away FDA for Shimwa Jatum say share.
yare baako a ɛha yɛ mema pa especially ya yenya 40 years and above no ɛfa yɛn prostate ɛho obetumi nya prostate enlargement anaasɛ prostatitis sɛ wokɔ ayaresabea na ɛka kyɛw sɛ wo PSA level no ɛkɔ higher kae na hu sɛ wo prostate no ɛho yɛ atɔkyema sɛ hu sɛ wokyem ansa na wadwonso wodwonso a na emu apae anaasɛ edu anadwo a wotaa dwonso a ɛna kae na hu sɛ wonya prostate disorder. So wotumi didi ye anaasɛ wotatenetene wapom anaasɛ wonya daily supplement bi a ɛbɛtumi aboa ama wo prostate no ɛgyina ne nan so saa mbarima nkyerɛkyerɛ wei Natural Link Company a wɔmode Pro-Slav capsules a ɛboa mbarima prostate True Man ana Dinner capsules ɛboa ɛmba ɛfiri kyirikɔ wobɛtumi afrɛ mo.
Right, thank you so much for staying with us. We have been joined in the studio by the national chairperson, or the chairperson of the CPP, Nana Ya Achampim Jantoa. We'll be talking about the CPP and what they are doing, as today is the AU Day. Good afternoon, welcome.
I just need to do a slight correction. I'm the General Secretary.
General Secretary
of
the CPP. Thank you, well noted. Well, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So talk to us about, today is the African Union Day. Talk to us about what the CPP as a party is doing. We all know the history behind the African Union Day and the role that Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah played. And he is the founder of Ghana and all of that as well. So talk to us about what the CPP.
Thank you very much, and thank you to your viewers. And also I wish all members of the Convention People's Party a happy AU Day and the whole of Africa on behalf of the CPP. What I would say is that today is a very remarkable day in the annals of the history of this country.
Right.
And we all know what the role of Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah played, ensuring that there is unity on the continent, there is freedom, there is liberation after the independence of Ghana. And we all know how the AU has been a formidable force in the political annals of this country. So we do believe that this is a very remarkable day, a day that should have been celebrated as such, but unfortunately it has been named a commemorative day without the requisite celebration that goes with it. In the mind of the CPP, we find it very difficult to comprehend how a day as important as this will not be a holiday for people to be able to be out there to celebrate it in different forms. If today is a day that needs to be celebrated, why are we working? Why are we sitting here? Because if people are working in their various offices, in the marketplaces, and all over the country, how can they effectively celebrate it? We see Christmas as a very important day, the birth of Jesus Christ. We see Easter as the death of Jesus Christ. We see Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Fitr as the end of a remarkable fasting time. And we create it as a holiday. If we see these days as important, now we have created another one, which is the Constitutional Day. Without the birth of the AU, without what Kwame Nkrumah did, would we have a constitution today? No. So why do we not celebrate our foundation and we decide that today is not a holiday? We take it out of the days that we have to celebrate holidays. It is unfortunate. The CPP is creating awareness on the matter for people to know exactly what the AU stands for. And that is one of the reasons why I sit here today. This morning we've been going around all the media houses to talk about the day, to talk about the event and how significant it is even for trade in Ghana, trade in Africa. That this unity, if it is promoted truly, will bring about trade amongst ourselves, will bring about free entry into countries. One thing that we always say is that when you look at Nigeria alone is a big market. And if you put the whole of Africa, the whole of the sub-region together, it is a very big market for us to take advantage and to explore our own resources that belongs to us and trade amongst ourselves instead of us always relying on the neo-colonialists, relying on the imperialists who are taking away, plundering our nations and creating havoc. Look at what is happening with our gold resources. Look at what is happening with our water. Look at what is happening with our cocoa. I believe strongly that the Chinese came not for our gold only. They also came for our cocoa, because our land is being polluted. The WHO is now saying that within the next 4 to 8 years, Ghana will import water. Import water from where? So now the point has come that we all come together as one people, as one continent, and make sure that our countries are well positioned. Now we are well positioned politically, because we have our freedoms, we are a sovereign nations, but we have to be well positioned economically. And that kind of economic freedom will come only not through just being single and standing on our own. Now EU is a very strong bloc. The European Union is a strong bloc. And I believe that when the AU is allowed to be a strong bloc in trade, we are going to really go forward. Because the sad thing is that the AU, as it stands, is a very, very, very good landmark for us to follow and to promote. And Ghana has always been the beacon of trade, of industry, of political freedom in Africa. Kwame Nkrumah lit the candle for us to be liberated, for us to be free. But now what is happening? There's a time for us to all come together on this AU Day, for us to trade, for us to move, for us to do things that will benefit our people.
Okay, thank you so much. You've spoken passionately and at length as well. Now, it's been 58 years. Do you think Ghana is where Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah envisioned that it will be, looking at how far we have come?
My dear, you don't even have to ask this question. The only thing that is standing is some freedom that we have as a nation.
Right.
But we still have behind the shadows the neo-colonialists, the imperialists manipulating and pulling us as puppets, going into their direction, manipulating everything, exploiting our resources, exploiting whatever money that we have. So it is not the same. This is not Kwame Nkrumah Ghana. It is not the Ghana Kwame Nkrumah envisioned for us to move forward. Everybody says that, oh, the time is different, the context is different. At the time Kwame Nkrumah was there, the Ghana was about 6-point-something million. Now we are going into over 30 million. Any leader, Kwame Nkrumah would have not lived forever, but he set the foundation for this country to move on. If the people who hated him, with the backing of the imperialists and the neo-colonialists, they did not engage in the 66 coup. And if we had allowed Kwame Nkrumah to move this country to a certain direction that he envisioned, to think that at the time that the motorway was built, how many cars were there? I believe the cars that were in Ghana were not so much as we see today. But in his vision, he saw that there was a need for us to develop. He built the Akosombo Dam. The Akosombo Dam to provide electricity. Ghana was a net exporter of electricity today. Right. What do we see today? We see doomsday, darkness everywhere. The factories that Kwame Nkrumah built, the employment that he created, the resources that he managed prudently for this country to move forward. What has happened today? We cannot even look after the resources properly. So certainly this is not the time. We are not in good times. Ghana is riddled with loans. Nobody said that Kwame Nkrumah did not take a loan. Kwame Nkrumah took loans to do things. But the loans that he took, they were used prudently, effectively, and they were used in a manner that would benefit the people of this nation. Like the building of the Akosombo Dam, the building of the Adome Bridge, the building of factories that were there, the building of hotels, the hospitality industry. But what do we see today? We can't even buy a 3-square meal to feed our families. Is that the Ghana that Kwame Nkrumah envisioned? No, we do not think so. And I think there is a time for us to move forward and change the fortunes of this nation.
Okay. Well, what do you think is the way forward for the AU?
Exactly. The way forward for the AU at this time is for us to effectively bring ourselves together as a bloc, as a political bloc, as an economic bloc, and see which way we can do to help ourselves. See what we can do to ensure that the imperialists and the neo-colonialists and the subjugators do not penetrate. We have to come as one body to promote trade industry and services. You have to come as one body to exchange technology. You have to come as one body to exchange agreements, intellectual property, to exchange education, to do a lot of exchanges amongst ourselves. The time has come for the AU to sit together and say, Ghana has gold. This one has bauxite. That one has oil. How are we going to harness and garner all these resources to benefit our people? It is time for the AU to come together and say that no more poverty for our people, no more pain, no more hunger. It is time the AU should sit together and say that we on this continent will have good health care, so that when our people are sick, our people would not move to anywhere outside the continent to have medical care. Right. At least in South Africa, there's good medical care. People go there. But let's improve the coverage. Let's improve the penetration where we can do things amongst ourselves and believe in ourselves that we can do it, that we will be managers of our own economies and our own countries.
Right. You have heard all of that from Nana Yaa Acheampong Gyantoa. Let's talk a little bit about the EC and its proposed reforms. You know, we can't let you go without talking a little bit about that. Generally, as the CPP as a political party, what did you make of the whole reforms that the Electoral Commission is proposing?
These are reforms, thank you very much, these are reforms that in our view would improve the electoral process. But you see, what we, the CPP, are saying, the reforms should not stand in a vacuum. They should be able to tell us better particulars how they are going to implement the reforms so that it does not affect the people of Ghana, the voters.
Okay.
Because for us, anything that the Ghanaian people want, we are for it.
Okay.
All these reforms are not made for EC. I mean, we shouldn't mix up the issues. Okay. The reforms are made for the voters who are in this country. So any reform that will not enfranchise people but disenfranchise voters will not be welcome. The issue of the 3 p.m. has come up strongly. The arguments that they gave were that, one, in 2020, from lessons learnt, the polls ended earlier than expected. People, by 1 p.m., most of the registers were complete.
Okay, but let me ask you about the closure of polls. I mean, they are proposing that we're going to move it from 5
to 3 p.m.
to 3. I mean, some people are complaining about the fact that it hasn't been well thought through because it has a tendency to disenfranchise some other citizens of the country. What do you...
That's exactly what I was coming to. But the point is that these are their... that is what they experienced. But we have to have better particulars. Because as somebody asked the question, are you then saying that poll starts at 7 to 5? That we're talking about 9 hours. Are you going to start earlier so you get the same 9 hours for people to vote? These questions have come up. And we need to dialogue further. We need to open up the conversation further. Okay. We need to remove politics from it.
All right.
And make sure that all of us will dialogue to the point where whatever proposals and reforms will be acceptable and amenable to all parties.
Okay, thank you so much for making time to join us right here in the studios. We have been in a conversation with Nana Yaa Acheampong Gyantoa, who is the General Secretary of the CPP. We'll take a quick break. There's more news after this. Please stay. Oh, thank you so much for staying. On the world of business, Kumasi City Markets Limited, managers of the Kejetia Market, one of the landmark trading centers in the West African sub-region, has announced that the facility will close at 7 p.m. from June 1st, 2021. Managing Director Kofi Dufo-Adai said the decision was to reduce the cost of operation and also enhance the security and safety of traders at the facility.
Trading and related commercial activities are allowed within the ultramodern market between 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Kofi Dufo-Adai emphasized that the managers would not permit entrance into the facility by either the public or commercial vehicles from June 1st, 2021, and cautioned the traders and public to endeavor to comply with the directives when brought into force, as the managers would not countenance any form of indiscipline. The managing director stated that the decision had been communicated to the traders to inform them of the impending changes. The latest development comes in the wake of the recent fire outbreak at the Kejetia Market, destroying some merchandise. The incident, which is being investigated, led to the temporary closure of the facility to allow fire experts and the police to assess the situation. The state-of-the-art market covers the first phase of the Kejetia Central Market redevelopment project, which commenced in 2015. To replace the aging open space, Kumasi Central Market, considered as one of the biggest trading hubs in the sub-region. It was inaugurated in 2018 and has about 8,420 stores, a clinic, a police station, a social and recreational center, ICT center, and a post office, a fire post, banks, and crèche.
Now, let's take a look at the interbank cedi performance against some of the major trading currencies. For you in the world of business, up next is International. Do stay. Now, on the international front, days after a ceasefire was announced, putting an end to Israel's brutal bombardment of Gaza, violence against Palestinians continued across the region, while Palestinian activists are being arrested and restrictions have come up in the locality of Sheikh Jarrah. Fresh invasions were reported at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound.
The planned evictions of Palestinian families in Sheikh Jarrah and the repeated attacks on worshippers at Al-Aqsa, both in East Jerusalem, had led to massive protests in the occupied territories, as well as rocket firing by Hamas. Israel responded to this with its brutal assault on Gaza. On Sunday, May 23, groups of extremist Jewish settlers illegally entered the Al-Aqsa Mosque complex. Around 125 settlers stormed the premises with the protection of Israeli security personnel, who reportedly physically assaulted and cleared the area of Palestinians. The security forces also arrested 6 Palestinians, including Al-Aqsa Mosque guard Fadi Aryan and Islamic Waqf. Following the raid by settlers, the Israeli security forces banned the entry of anyone over the age of 45 into the mosque compound. According to an official of the Jerusalem Islamic Waqf religious endowment, the body, which is appointed by Jordan to administer and look after the mosque compound, the situation is very dangerous as extremist settlers continue to invade the mosque premises regularly, according to an agreement dating back to 1966. 1997, the status quo at the mosque must be maintained and only Muslim worshippers are allowed to pray at the Al-Haram Al-Sharif, the third holiest site in Islam. Council member Ali Wazuz and other part of historical Palestine. At the beginning of the month too, settlers had entered the mosques during the holy month of Ramadan, leading to clashes with Palestinians. On Friday, Israeli police had invaded the mosque premises and attacked Palestinians with tear gas and stun grenades, leading to fierce resistance. Israeli forces also attacked protests and demonstrations with rubber bullets and live ammunition across the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem on Friday. 97 Palestinians suffered injuries in the Israeli violence. The following day, Israeli security forces carried out a systematic campaign of mass arrest, detaining more than 50 Palestinians from the occupied West Bank. The Palestinian Prisoners' Rights Organization, Palestinian Prisoners Society, has recently revealed that since mid-April, Israeli forces have arrested close to 18,000 Palestinians, minority of them in the occupied West Bank, but also many Palestinian Israeli citizens in the Palestinian majority towns in Israel during protests against evictions in Sheikh Jarrah, the raids on the Al-Aqsa Mosque complex, and the Israeli bombardment of besieged Gaza. Palestinian news agencies and activists have warned of a 48-hour mass arrest campaign in the occupied territories and Israel. As reported by Quds News Network, Israeli forces will carry out Operation Law and Order against a bank of targets. Youth organizers have stated that thousands of forces, including border patrol, have been deployed in Palestinian villages and cities. As per reports, at least 500 Palestinians will be targeted for participating in the uprising over the past month. Reports from the ground also indicated that Israeli forces have also placed a blockade on the Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood. Palestinians have reported being forced to show their IDs and no one from outside the neighborhood is being let in. Meanwhile, Israeli settlers who are often armed are allowed to enter. The ceasefire on Friday saw an end to the 11-day assault on Gaza by Israel, which ended up killing 248 Palestinians, including close to 70 children, wounding close to 18,000 and rendering roughly 90,000 Palestinians homeless. 12 people were killed on Israel due to rockets fired by Hamas.
Well, credit goes to our international partners, the People's Dispatch. Up next is Sports Tuesday. And the Women's FA Cup final will be played on Sunday, July 4, 2021. This is contained in a detailed schedule released by the Competitions Department for the remaining matches in the Women's Premier League and Women's FA Cup, respectively.
13 and 14 of the Women's Premier League will resume on the weekends of May 28 to 31st, 2021 and June 4th to 7th, 2021, with the final showdown scheduled for Sunday, June quarterfinal and semi-final of the Women's FA Cup as slated for the weekends of June 11th to 14th, 2021. and June 19th to 20th, 2021, with the final slated for Sunday, July 4th, 2021.
And that's all we have for sports. Up next is entertainment. Today in the world of entertainment, the theme for this year's Africa Day, it's arts, culture and heritage, levers for building the Africa we want. On today's segment of Showbiz, we'll give viewers a feel of pride in being African.
Africa, endowed with abundant mineral wealth and resources, is the second largest continent after Asia with an area of 30.3 square kilometers. A hub of tourist sites such as the Nile River, Victoria Falls, Mount Kilimanjaro and Lake Victoria, she is also home to numerous architectural masterpieces. Her people are also known for their hospitality, distinct tradition and deeply rooted in cultural practices. The theme for this year's Africa Day resonates with the need for the continent to embrace unity, which will move her forward as emphasized in Bob Marley's song, Africa Unite.
Africa unite, 'cause we're moving right out of Babylon, and we're going to help our good children.
You this afternoon on Pan African News, but before I take leave of you, let's do a recap of the headlines. And Africa marks 58 years of striving towards attaining Africa unity. And also, Allied Health Professionals Council of Ghana calls on the Ministry of Health to implement the 2013 National Health Laboratory Policy to resolve the impasse between the striking laboratory scientists at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital and their employees. And residents in the Adentan municipality want municipal chief executive removed. And in business, KJTR market to close down at 7 p.m. from June 1st, 2021. Well, I want to say thank you for spending 60 minutes of your afternoon with us here on Pan African Television. My name is Makiza Michelin Latifa, but please be reminded that the documentary produced by the Socialist Forum of Ghana in collaboration with Pan African Television and Africans Rising will premiere right here on Pan African Television. Please keep it locked on. Have a good day.
And don't know, yes, I did Truman capsules and so at their brain. I can't think of what's a good deal to me, dear Michi. At the account, now you're Beman and Winnie at a ball.
Hey, Truman capsules. One mama ya bema bion.
Truman ye marima drew and mofra woni infedu watchi into me numbi. Sa jedi enkra to we FDA for shemo aja to say she.
Today, we can trust sources of water anymore. Confidence is gone due to human activities. Same human activity